time in Kobe's career, it's when he decided he was going to drop the weight.
Right.
Now, and for him, it was to avoid injury, and I would imagine that that's the same reason behind LeBron's paleo diet that he did over the summer and Carmelo's weight loss. I'm just not really sure. Well, I've got some guesses about it, but we'll talk about that when I come back on. But it's not yielding the same results as it did for Kobe. But he's definitely the reason why they did it, because you look at what he did at this point in his career, they're looking for the same longevity. It was inspired by him, but it's not getting the same results. So we gotta talk about that for sure next time I come on.
Definitely have to talk about that. Don't worry, I'll be texting you tomorrow to try to get you booked. I know you're high in demand.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, wish your husband the best, and I want to thank you for spending, almost a half an hour with us, and you spent time with myself and our listeners, so I want to definitely big him up and say thank you to him.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on with you and to share with your listeners, so I look forward to coming back again soon.
Hey, Roz, really quick, where can our listeners find you?
Oh, good. I'm glad you asked me. So I'm on Twitter at @R_Trinity and on Instagram at the same. And my sports blog is Lady Sings the Sports, like Lady Sings the Blues, but ladysingsthesports.com. So check it out. I got a piece coming up pretty soon on why we should fall out of love with the idea of the big three. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, the minute you release that, you let me know in advance so we can get it. All of our Twitter goons that are out there that like to retweet about Late Night Parents and our show and all the things we do, you're definitely a friend of the room. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year, and we will be speaking with you very shortly.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye. And that was Miss Rosalyn Ross, extraordinaire from Bleacher Report, Yahoo Sports, all the above. And she was talking about yoga, meditation, and, of course, I had to talk with her about the NBA. Very shortly, we have Mr. Antwan Staley from Pro Players and from Bleacher Report joining us to talk about the NFL, talk about the playoffs, and talk about the Fritz Pollard Alliance and the Rooney Rule, and whether or not do we need to just toss this to the side? Because you got 6 openings out there right now for coaches, about 3 for general managers, and you have various owners and football executives that are interviewing some coaches because of their, because you have to fill that criteria to interview a minority candidate. So hopefully, I know we're having some phone issues with Antwan, but that's what we're going to talk about. So really quickly, we're going to talk about some resolutions, and a few of them that Rosalyn was talking about. Here's your top 5 resolutions. 1, losing weight. 2, making health and wellness a priority. 3, exercising more, taking on a marathon or fitness goal. 4, eating healthier and learning more about nutrition. We've got some great blogs coming out on Late Night Parents. So I'm going to see if I can call Antwan right now to see if we can get a good connection. So just hang with me for a second. Well, you know what? We'll go to a brief break, and we'll be right back in 25 seconds.
Hello?
Hey, Antwan, how you doing? This is Ted Hicks at Late Night
I'm
Parents.
good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Everything's
I
going
know
all right.
sometimes. I know Block Talk sometimes. It can be a little troublesome, so I want to apologize for that.
Yeah. That's all right.
But hey, you're on live right now. I'm glad we were able to connect with you. I want to say Happy New Year, brother. How are things?
Everything's good. Like, how's everything with you?
Pretty good. So I guess we'll jump right into it real quick and just talk about, give us, so there's two questions. There's one question I want to ask you, and we can briefly talk about the playoffs. So I kind of want you to think, we have 6 head coach openings currently right now as this show is going on. I would say 2 or 3 general manager positions that are open. African-American candidates are being interviewed for these positions. Is it just because, to fulfill the necessities for the Rooney Rule, and, just as myself being African-American, as if, all of our fans didn't know, you always see my ugly mug in my Twitter feed, but the thing I want to say to you is, should we keep the Rooney Rule? Is it time do we pull the Fritz Pollard Alliance to the side and say, hey, this isn't working? I mean, what is it? What is your thoughts on that? And whether or not is this process working?
I'm not a big fan of it. I've heard they've said it's worked, but you have to believe. I mean, you just have to believe, Goodell and some of the other owners. Now, I will say it did help Mike Tomlin get the Steelers job because he was interviewing for other jobs, and he came across the Steelers and interviewed with them, and eventually got the job. So I guess in some cases it does work. Me personally, like I said, I think you should be able to interview whoever you want to, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. So. Yeah, I think, for me, that's what I would do. But, the NFL wants to have that Rooney Rule, but they feel like it's not a lot of black head coaches in, professional football. So, but I think this year with Todd Bowles getting, heavy consideration, you could definitely see him snag up one of the head coaching jobs that are available.
Right. I mean, Bowles is he's a hot commodity right now, to a point where he's interviewing with, probably all 6 teams that personally want him. So I kind of go back to the time when Seattle was interviewing for open positions. And, I think the job itself was slated to go to Pete Carroll. And, Leslie Frazier was kind of pulled in there at the last second. And, things kind of got a little messy. So it's like, Antwan, from my point of view, I just think sometimes some of these rules, we just need to take a look at them every year or a couple of years or so, and just to see if it's still valid.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think, until some things may not always be working, and you get to evaluate if it is working or not. I just think if you want to hire one particular guy and they take the job, you should be able to hire him and not just bring in, a certain guy just because he's a certain color or race or something like that. Now, I'm not saying that. I do want to promote, blacks and other minorities in head coaching positions and also GM positions, but at the end of the day, I think people are going to hire whoever they want to hire. Now, like I say, the rule is good and bad, but again, it's something, like I say, you could evaluate from year to year.
I want to thank you for answering those questions. I know you and I talk from time to time on Twitter and on various topics. Yeah. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to talk with you real quick about your thoughts on so far in the NFL playoffs, this weekend's games that are coming up online. If you could give me your picks for this weekend, who's your picks and why?
I guess we'll start with the games in order. I guess we'll start with the 4:35 game, which is the Patriots and Ravens game in Foxborough. I think that's one of the best games of the weekend, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, they have history with one another as they played each other in the playoffs 3 times since 2009. So That's going to be with the Ravens winning 2 of those actually. So it's actually actually 2 of them, all 3 of them in Foxborough, and the Ravens have won 2 out of the 3. So I mean, this is as far as like on paper. I mean, on the field. I mean, the Ravens have a shot because they can get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing, and obviously with Terrell Suggs and Elvis Dumervil, they can get pressure on Tom Brady and force him to make mistakes. And kind of what they did to Big Ben last week, they have a legitimate shot. And obviously Joe Flacco, I think, is still underrated despite the fact that he's won a Super Bowl. I'm going to take New England just because I think they're the more talented team. But it would not surprise me if the Ravens were to win. But I like New England because I think the difference is between these teams and this team and the ones in the past is Rob Gronkowski's healthy, and also you have a Darrelle Revis on the other side. So I'll take New England in that particular game to be completely honest with you. Then you got Seattle, Carolina in the 8 o'clock game. I think Carolina's banged up. They're lucky to get. I won't say lucky, but they're fortunate to get to this point. But I think Seattle, with their defense and the way they played, and I think they're looking for another Super Bowl ring. I think they're just gonna. I won't say roll, but I think they'll convincingly beat Carolina. And then you got the 1 o'clock game, which is the Dallas and Green Bay game, another intriguing game.
Yes.
You want to pick I want to pick Green Bay. I really do, and I think they probably will win. But Dallas has been road warriors, and they won 8 games. They won 8 games on the road this year. They have not lost, and Green Bay hasn't lost at home. So something I have to give. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay, especially if Dallas plays the way that they did, similar to last week. They can't start out slow because Aaron Rodgers is a surgeon, and he's going to pick you apart. And unlike last week where Detroit's offense kind of sputtered, late in the second half, that won't happen with Green Bay in all likelihood. So I like Green Bay in that one. And Denver, Indianapolis is very intriguing as well. I don't think Denver necessarily has been playing well, coming down to the stretch in the NFL season. I really want to pick the Colts, but I really can't, bring myself to do it. So, I'm gonna pick the home team. I'm gonna pick Denver in this case. But then again, like I say, normally what happens, you usually have a road team or two win a game like this on division weekend. It's usually a surprise. You can see the Colts going into Denver and beating the Broncos. But I'm gonna pick Denver to win.
Okay. I mean, those are pretty solid picks. One question I want to ask you, if you can answer real quickly, is are you concerned about Peyton Manning's arm strength?
I'm more concerned about just him in general. I mean, to me, ever since the Rams game, and I don't know how people may agree with me or disagree, they'll do one or the other, but he hasn't looked like the same quarterback. I mean, he really got roughed around and bullied in that game, and then after that they ended up playing Miami and didn't look particularly well, and obviously the Cincinnati game on Monday night, he didn't look well. I think they want to run the ball a little bit more, and I think that's probably what they're going to do. They'll be able to do that against the Colts defense, which I think is not necessarily very good, but if the Colts can somehow just contain the running game and force Peyton to throw the ball. I don't know the weather, conditions yet. I have to look that up. Depending on how the weather is, because Denver could be like hit or miss at times, but I think they have a legitimate shot. They can stop the run game. So I just don't think he doesn't look the same to me. He isn't making the same smart decisions as well. It's not just about the arm strength. It's just about his decision making as well.
Antwan, we're running a little short on time. Tell our listeners the best way to get in contact with you.
You find me at Black Red Sox Fan on Twitter, and also find my work through Twitter as well on blackredsoxfan.com, and I write for a number of different places. So yeah, that's really the best place you can find me.
Antwan, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and definitely in the next month, we're going to have you back because we're going to start talking about baseball. We're going to start talking about, early predictions for MLB, and definitely want to stay close to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
And that was Antwan Staley from Pro Players Report, from Bleacher Report, Black Red Sox fan. You can find him on Twitter. He's a great follower. We're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back with Mr. Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue himself, none other than CEO extraordinaire, the Yoda of the Happy Hour Network, Lee Vowell.